out of 100, what would you say?
I'm terrified.
Right.
Take 2 fingers.
People with phobias will try almost anything to get cured. In this programme, we'll be looking at the treatments available and which ones are known to work. Jacqueline Kelly has been terrified of birds and feathers for as long as she can remember. For years, she's been desperate to find a cure for her phobia.
I went to see my doctor and I asked him if there was anybody that he could send me to. He looked at me as though I was crazy. He told me to go to the library and get a book about birds. He also told me to get a bird table and put it in the garden and watch the birds landing on it. As I tried to explain to my doctor, I mean, do you honestly think that I haven't already tried these things? If it was as simple as that, I would have done it.
Jacqueline has agreed to be wired up to a heart monitor to see exactly what's happening to her body when she sees a feather. Her normal heart rate is about 80.
Oh, God, no.
But when she sees a feather, her heart races in a typical adrenaline-fueled response to extreme fear.
Do you want it up?
Yeah.
Yep, OK. Can you put the screen up, please?
As her fear mounts, she starts to sweat. Using a thermographic camera which measures heat, we can see this happen. To begin with, her face and her scalp are glowing red. She's anxious but in control. But after seeing the feather, there's a dramatic change. Her skin, particularly on the scalp, becomes white hot.
It makes me feel every emotion you can imagine, all mixed up.
When a reaction is so intensely unpleasant, it's not surprising that phobics go to any length to avoid this terror.
Do you think Mummy would like this one?
No. She would scream.
She would scream?
Yes.
Would she?
Jackie spends little time outside the house.
My mum, she does lots of things with Angelina. So, feeding the ducks, I would probably like to do, but can't.
We go shopping in Manchester where there are pigeons all over the place. We run in and out of buildings to avoid them. She'll stand backed against a wall until we shoo them away. If they come anywhere near her, she goes hysterical. People look at you as if you've got somebody simple with you.
Last year when we were on holiday in Tenerife, I took Angelina to the beach, building sandcastles. We'd not been on the beach 5-10 minutes, and a pigeon, one pigeon, landed. It was probably about 100 yards away from us, but I couldn't stay. I couldn't even find the time to tell her what was going on. I just upped and legged it, ran back to the hotel. And it wasn't until I got back to the hotel that I realised, God, I've left my child on the beach. She's only 3, she's there on her own. Apart from being frightened of the birds and feathers, my biggest fear is something happening to my daughter because of me.
Clinical psychologists believe that there's only one way phobias like Jackie's can be cured.
There are no miracle cures. In the end, what you've got to do is you have to work through the problem. You're not going to be able to avoid your way out of a phobia. And a lot of therapies on the market are offering just that. You can avoid as a way of getting rid of your phobia. It's obviously nonsense.
I want to know why. Not everybody's frightened of feathers. Where has it come from? Why isn't my sister frightened of feathers? Why is it me?
Feeling fear about something as beautiful as a bird or its feathers might seem hard to understand because neither are dangerous. But the potential for certain phobias seems to be hardwired into our brains. A fear of snakes is very easy to trigger. However, feathers and birds are not inherently dangerous. Jackie's and many other phobias are almost certainly a conditioned response to a traumatic event in childhood. The fact that people can be made phobic was rather cruelly proven in the 1920s. At the start of this experiment, little Albert was clearly not afraid of animals. But then he's deliberately frightened with masks and loud noises. Soon he learns to associate fear with animals. Soon he is terrified of them. People with phobias try to avoid the object or situation of fear. When your phobia is public places, avoidance isn't that easy. Carmine Mattioli has been agoraphobic since he was 19. He hates being more than 5 miles away from home, and unlike Jacqueline Kelly, he can pinpoint when and why his phobia began.
First time I remember being anxious, the worst anxiety attack I had a house, I had a wife, I had a daughter, and I just woke up one day and realized I had all this responsibility. I look back at it now, and I think that's exactly what started it off.
Agoraphobia is one of the commonest phobias. It's a fear of fear itself, a fear of having a panic attack in public. This has meant taking holidays was almost impossible for Carmine and caused problems with his family.
We would want to go on holiday, but deep down inside, as it got closer and closer to going on holiday, I felt like I was going to my doom. What if I don't feel good? What if I want to go home? What if I get stuck in traffic? And then we would get to our destination. As soon as she would unpack my bag, I would say, I want to go home. I don't feel good, I want to go home.
Joanne Weiss also used to be phobic. She was housebound for 5 years, but now works as a phobia aide. Using a form of behaviour therapy, she's hoping she can help Carmine overcome his fear. But she knows from personal experience, agoraphobics can be very tricky.
Sometimes I could be waiting for them and they just don't show up. And I will make a phone call and I'll hear every excuse that you can possibly think of, and some that you wouldn't believe. But I used to use them myself, so I'm on to everyone. Manhattan is a scary place for most phobics, especially if you're agoraphobic. It's like that Alice in Wonderland syndrome where you feel very small and everything is very big.
If Carmine shows up, Joanne is hoping to get him onto the Staten Island ferry. It'll be crowded, he'll feel panicky, and he won't be able to escape. Carmine knows this, which is why he hasn't been on it in 30 years.
I took my wife out on the Staten Island ferry many years ago. And it was romantic, and it was beautiful, and it was nice. I'm not married to my wife anymore. And I don't say the phobia was the only reason. There was other reasons. But it was hard for her. It kept her from doing a lot of things she wanted to do because I wouldn't let her do things on her own either. I wouldn't let her go on holiday alone with my daughters because I didn't want to be alone. You know, who did I have? You know.
There he is.
Hey, what's going on? How you doing? Something, huh?
Oh, yeah.
Sit down, relax. Yeah, what the hell?
So how high are you now? What are you feeling right now?
About 5.
You're at a 5? But you're here.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
terrific.
yeah.
That's terrific.
Joanne gauges Carmine's levels of anxiety by using a 0 to 10 scale, where level 10 is unbearable panic.
Well, if we go over on the Staten Island ferry, okay, fine, we get over there. Now I got to come back. Exactly. So now, but if we don't come back, now I got to turn around. We got to get in a vehicle and we got to go across the Gatos Bridge up the New Jersey Turnpike to come back.
Look
It's
what
ridiculous.
you're doing to yourself.
All right.
You have to stay in the present. We're here. We're in White Plains. And we're going to have a lovely day. Think of it as an adventure.
Oh, it's a wonderful day.
Accept the fact that you're going to have levels.
Yeah.
That's part of why we're doing this, is to get used to feeling uncomfortable.
Right.
And knowing that you can do it even though you're uncomfortable. And that's what's important.
All right. My concern is feeling trapped. I don't like feeling trapped. You know, I haven't been on a ferry in a long time. I don't even know what to expect on a ferry. Back then it was a nickel. Then it went to 50 cents. Now it's free. Why are they letting you ride it for free? There's got to be something wrong with it.
Good phobic thinking.
You know
Good
what I'm
phobic
saying?
thinking.
Why are you letting me ride this ferry for free?
You're going to get out of it what you put into it. If you're willing to get out there every day, one of the doctors we work with says a minimum of an hour a day. And you're going to see how much progress you make. I've seen people recover completely. By completely, I mean able to function even though they have some levels.
Carmine's levels continue to build as he gets closer to the ferry dock.
Right.
Because I want to get it done. I want to get it over with.
Right. At this point, you want to get it over
Exactly.
with. Right.
The further he gets from home, the more anxious he becomes. Downtown New York is bad enough, but the ferry will be much worse.
Okay, there's the entrance. You already have a plan. You don't have to white knuckle it. You don't have to grin and bear it.
Right.
There's something that you can do. First of all, I'm with you.
Right.
So that's safety in and of itself. You're not alone. I don't think it's all that crowded. If you get to the point where you can get here by yourself and you started to have levels without me, what would you do?
I won't be here by myself.
These are the people coming off.
It's too crowded.
But we're going to let them all go. Let them all go. I always think of the movie The Working Girl with Melanie Griffith. Did you see that movie?
No.
Where she's on the Staten Island ferry. She lives in Staten Island. She comes off the ferry. She goes to her office.
Not doing it.
Huh?
Not going.
What?
Too many levels. Let's go.
All right, let's stand and rest a minute. You want to
Right
rest
here.
a minute?
As soon as he turns away, his anxiety drops, his panic begins to fade. Unfortunately, all this will do is reinforce his phobia.
If I do it at night. I wouldn't do it during the day. It's too crowded. I'm not doing it.
All right, let's talk about how you're feeling now.
Am I feeling now? I don't see any purpose to do it. It's not the time.
You feel it was too much to do in one day?
It's too crowded. I'd rather do it late at night when it's a lesser crowd.
Are you going to be very disappointed in yourself?
No, because I came down here. I did 75% of it.
Carmine knows the origins of his phobia, but many psychologists doubt that just knowing why is enough. Jackie is not keen to expose herself to anxiety, which she knows would happen in behaviour therapy. She's trying an alternative cure.
I am absolutely open to anything because it's so desperate now. You know, it's a feather duster, it's duvets.
Right, tell me a bit about the duvets.
Oh, it's full of feathers.
Yeah, you wouldn't have one in case a feather slipped out, is that it?
Yeah.
Does part of you recognise that that's irrational?
Oh, yes.
Right. My theory about phobias is that something happens to you, usually when you're very young, but it could be later on in life, and the incident is so traumatic that your conscious mind can't handle it. But the incident itself, the memory of that, goes into the subconscious. I want you to imagine that you're walking along a beautiful, palm-fringed, tropical beach with white sand and a clear...
Using hypnosis, Costa-Lambrius is trying to recondition Jackie's subconscious fear responses.
You are determined to relax whenever you see a bird or a feather and remain cool, calm and in complete control. Now listen very carefully. Concentrate on my voice.
During session 3, Jackie had a flashback, a long-forgotten childhood memory of a bird trapped in her grandmother's house. To find out if these memories are real, she's off to see her grandmother.
It was just going all around the house, flying anywhere. It was scared. The bird was more scared than we was. But you was terrified.
And well, where will they have been when you picked the feathers up? Was they upset? You can't remember, can you?
35 years ago. Would you remember? Who picked the feathers up?
No, probably not. No, probably not. But see, my mum can't even remember.
Your mum wasn't there.
I know, but my mum can't remember my coming home and saying, "Oh God, when was it my nana's today?"
Well, you'd be too scared to say that to me because you was a very, very quiet child. Very quiet. One of the quietest children I ever knew. Scared to death she was. Of a feather, of a bird. I wonder why. I don't like them, but I'm not afraid.
So will knowing why help Jackie to get cured?
The chances of success with Jacqueline, I believe, are about 80%. This is based on, I've got a good reputation, but also my experience in dealing with phobics. Even though it's a phobia that I haven't encountered before, it should run along standard lines, and I'm hoping that it's going to be a very successful outcome for Jacqueline.
Every time I've been going to see him, I've been quite excited that this end result is going to be fantastic for me. And now today's come, and it's my last session, and I don't want it to be my last session in case it hasn't worked. I'm really frightened.
Three, let the beach scene fade away now. 4, 5, 6, as you come up and begin to return to the room. 7, 8, 9, nearly there. And 10, you can open your eyes, coming all the way up. This tape is recorded by Costa-Lambrius, all copyright reserved.
I feel like I need to get outside and see what happens.
Yeah, I mean, to me, that's perfect. The ideal thing for you now would be to go outside and be with birds.
See what happens to me.
Yeah. Should we do that?
Yeah, there's a magpie there.
And normally, how would you have felt? Oh, great. So,
honestly, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I have to wait until there was, like, pigeons round my feet. I mean, the magpie flying across there, I would have had to watch it and check it out, and I'm not doing that.
Right.
Feeling confident, they try the front of the building for more bird sightings.
There's one.
It's just poking his head above the... It's flying off now.
No. Oh, no. Oh, God. I'm never going to get rid of this.
Don't give up hope just yet.
I have. It's just... I don't know. I don't know what to do.
Fear of feathers is very rare. Fear of public speaking, however, is one of the most common phobias.
Well, if you look back in the history of human beings, we find that the sense of survival depended on the sense of acceptance. And truthfully, if you were not accepted in the core of the small group in the village, how far back should we go, in the cave, if you were not accepted, you were rejected, it was literally life-threatening. You were put out. Well, this kind of very deep-seated fear, if you will, sense of rejection, is hardwired into human beings.
This is the first time I've ever even stood at the podium in front of the church. And it's a very frightening feeling to look out and at all the, at faces and people and how do I look? How will I sound? Will I have the right answers if somebody asks me a question?
In Boston, Dennis Becker is pioneering a form of behavioural therapy that softens the impact of being flooded with the real phobic experience. Kathleen is hoping it will work for her.
The longer you stood there, how did it feel?
It became more comfortable.
A little more comfortable.
But there was still nobody out
there
in front of me.
Right.
That's where I don't know how comfortable it will be standing there. But it did. It became more comfortable.
Yeah. This is the same thing that's going to happen with you at church. They have come there to be inspired. All right? I'm going to watch where you are on the monitor. So you put your headset on.
Okay.
And see what happens.
Yep.
By wearing a virtual reality headset, Kathleen will be able to practice speaking to a virtual audience.
All right, we're going to bring some people in. Are you ready? Let's bring them all in. Here we go. Virtual reality looks like a cartoon. The characters, the setting, it looks like a cartoon. One of the things we discovered in our research was that if you made it real, it was too scary. It's filling up now. Go ahead.
Okay. Good morning. I'm Kathleen, and I've been asked to speak to you this morning regarding our upcoming. It's a place where young, unmarried, pregnant girls can take their...
Dennis is able to adjust the intensity of her audience and gauge Kathleen's anxiety.
One of the biggest decisions in their lives.
Your number.
5.
Okay.
6.
Yeah, go ahead.
But a decision that will be with them and affect the rest of their lives.
Ah, they liked you. Very good. Liked it. You started at 6, went to 5, went to 4. Same thing's going to happen at church. And I noticed that your breathing was changing. Mm-hmm. And you were controlling it more. That's what was important.
It remains to be seen whether virtual reality will help Kathleen to do the real thing. In Norfolk, England, Christine Keeler struggles daily with the feelings of terror she has about mice. She too feels that any form of behaviour therapy will be too traumatic.
Nothing could persuade me to touch a mouse. Nothing. If somebody put a cage there full of mice with £1 million in the middle, I could no way think I can keep it. I just couldn't take it out. As much as I need that money, I could not take it. I just couldn't. No, nothing would persuade me.
I'd be in there like shot.
That's the worst thing about thinking about therapy. There's only one way of finding out if you could, isn't there? Yeah. And that's got to be like hell.
Living in the countryside means every nook and cranny of Christine's house has had many mouse visitations.
I have to use this to get the tea towels, but I don't like it because when we had a mouse in the house, there were some mouse droppings just down there, and I don't like that cupboard either. No.
Christine's fear of mice is matched only by her passion for the pigeons she and her husband show. Her daily handling of these birds is something Jackie Kelly would find totally abhorrent.
Those dirty birds, they're just disgusting.
There's just nothing to be afraid of on a feather.
I could pick a mouse up rather than a pigeon. That would not be a problem.
If I sat in a room and somebody let a load of mice out, I think I would die. I really think I would just stop breathing and I would die.
Christine and Jackie have come to the Institute of Psychiatry in London to take part in an unusual research project.
You really do at times think that you're going crazy though, don't you?
So it's the actual feather, not the bird?
It's both.
I can understand the bird if it's flapping around you, because that is,
but
you know...
The feather is as bad as the bird. And I don't understand how you can have your pigeons.
But I can now say the word mouse, but I can't type it. I can't write it. I couldn't write it down. I can't write it down.
You had a look at this scanner?
No.
Did you know anything about it?
Oh, they've drawn me a picture of it, and it doesn't seem quite so bad.
They both agreed to take part in a brain study, the first of its kind ever to be done to try and see what actually happens in the phobic brain when exposed to their object of terror.
Now, what we're going to be asking you to do, first of all, is to go into the scanner and stay in for just about an hour. And during that time, we're going to be asking you to look at different types of picture. Now, some of the pictures you're going to find a bit disturbing. They're going to be pictures of mice or birds and feathers.
When we're looking at the pictures that we don't particularly like, it's possible that we might let out a scream or a, you know.
All we can say is that I understand that's going to be a problem, but if you can try and keep your movement and the gasping to a minimum. But we understand, I mean, it's not an easy thing to do, and well done for being brave enough to come and volunteer to go in the scanner. But as I say, it's only going to be a few of the pictures which are going to be distressing. I think the first one isn't...
Dr. Phillips gets Christine to grade her pictures.
Now, I'm just going to show you very briefly one of these, and then if you want to stop, we'll stop, OK? This is still a picture, it's not a real one.
That's enough.
Yeah, that's enough, OK, fine.
There's a mirror there, so I'm just going to move you in now.
The MRI scanner will record what happens inside Jackie's brain when she's frightened. But before they start recording, Jackie starts to panic.
All right, okay. Bring you out. Don't even put up.
Either the claustrophobic scanner or the thought of the pictures of birds and feathers were too much for Jackie. So, will Christine be able to cope?
Hello, Christine, it's Mary again. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Great, how are you doing?
Fine.
Great, well, the pictures are going to come up fairly shortly, but before they do, you'll hear about a minute of noise.
The first pictures are innocuous and shouldn't bother Christine. Although the birds and the feathers would have been a problem for Jackie.
I think she'll probably be OK with the neutral ones, so let's just see how she goes.
As she looks at the pictures, the scanner is constantly analysing the activity in different parts of her brain.
How are you doing?
The next series of pictures would upset most of us, and scientists have already recorded the brain's reaction to normal fear. But this will be the first time phobic fear will have ever been isolated. Christine is about to see mice.
OK. You did extremely well.
Christine's brain scan shows something very interesting. A normal fear reaction involves the amygdala, the primitive part of the brain. But when Christine was terrified by the mice, there was a surge of blood in the hippocampus, which processes emotional memory. This unusual brain activity should change when or if she's cured. In the light of this discovery, Christine's suspicions as to where her phobia began seem likely.
My first memory of a mouse is when my mother accidentally cooked one. Obviously it was in the oven before she put the pie in, but when she pulled it out there was this little shrivelled mouse at the back there.
For Christine, like many people with phobias, the idea of a cure that won't involve any exposure to the object of fear is very seductive. She's heard about just such a treatment called thought field therapy. And it can even be given over the phone from California.
I have doubtless treated more people by far than any other doctor in history. Not any other doctor today, but in history. And maybe more than all of them in history when you think about it, because I found I could cure most of them within minutes.
In Norfolk, Christine wants the miracle to work for her.
Dr. Callahan.
Hello.
Hello.
Is this Christine?
It is.
Well, it's very nice to talk to you, Christine, and I hope we can help you with this fear of mice. It's going to sound kind of silly, but this is the most powerful approach I've ever seen in my life. Take 2 fingers, and I want you to go just about an inch below either one of your eyes.
Yeah.
Have you got that?
I've got that.
Okay, now I want you to tap there, gently but solidly 5 times.
To what?
Pardon?
To do what?
I want you to tap.
Tap, yeah.
5 taps right below your eye. You done that?
Yeah.
Dr. Callahan's claim is that if you tap on the body's acupressure points while thinking of your phobia, it will have miraculous results.
Now I want you to tap there 5 times.
Yeah, but I'm holding the telephone.
Thank you for reminding me of that important fact.
It's all right.
Could you hold the phone with your shoulder?
Yeah.
And then tap that point.
Keep tapping, and now we're going to activate your right brain. I'm going to ask you to hum a little tune, just a couple of bars.
I don't want to do that.
After 15 minutes of tapping, Christine is asked to look at a picture of a mouse.
Hello?
Christine?
Yeah, I found one.
Good, good. Now, how do you feel about looking at the picture? Is it still a 10? You don't want to see that picture? I'm sorry?
Yeah, I don't like it.
You don't like it?
No.
We have here what we call a very complex phobia, surprisingly, because this would do it for about 8 out of 10 people.
Can you hear me?
Okay, I just don't see where it's getting me anywhere.
Can you hear me?
Hello?
Christine? I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
Dr. Callahan operates on a no-win, no-fee basis. If he can cure the phobia, it's $3,000. He persuades Christine to try something else.
Now, I want you to wrap that towel around you. Do you mind doing this?
Wrap it around me.
Yeah, like up around your neck. I want to try to block out the T-shirt.
Hang on.
The T-shirt is toxic.
Dr. Callahan thinks Christine may be allergic to a T-shirt, and this could be interfering with his treatment.
You got it real well covered, so the T-shirt, you're not going to be breathing fumes from the T-shirt?
I can't smell the T-shirt.
Pardon?
Yeah.
Do you want to continue?
Not really, no.
Yeah, I didn't think you did.
Her clothing is toxic. Do you know what that means? If she'd want to continue, I might have to have her strip all of her clothing off before the day is over, you know?
Putting the towel around my neck, that just seemed ridiculous. That just finished it, really. And I did go into it with a positive attitude. But after about 10 minutes of it, it just fairly... I couldn't see where it was getting anywhere. Couldn't see where it was getting anywhere at all.
The sensations that phobics feel during a panic attack are caused by an adrenaline rush, but the same symptoms are felt by thrill seekers. It's simply a matter of how one interprets these symptoms. Beth Smith hates the sensations she has on a roller coaster. Her son Jake loves them and remembers the last time he persuaded his mum to join him on one.
Took her on, we started to go, and the ride started going, and I checked over at her, and she was hyperventilating. She was going, and I asked her, "Are you okay? Are you okay?" She said, "Shut up, Jake, shut up!" We got off the ride, and I thought she was going to kill me, and she let out a scream as we were waiting to go into the station, a blood-curdling scream like, "Ah!" Like really loud, and everybody turns around and looks at her. And then we got off, and she said she'd never do it again.
In Orlando, clinical psychologist Dr. Mike Otto uses behavioural therapy to convince a group of roller coaster phobics in just 1 hour to change the way they think, so that the physical sensations they feel do not need to be negative, and could even be enjoyable.
You know what to expect.
So shortness of breath or even dizziness don't have to be viewed as an ensuing heart attack, but with different interpretation could mean exhilaration.
Keep it going for a bit. Good, and stop. Phobic reactions are terrifying, no matter what the source of the phobia. And sometimes people find one fear more understandable. They say, oh, I can imagine having that. But it's important to remember that regardless of the source of the fear, how it feels, the sense of danger is very real and is the same.
For the phobic, learning how to deal with the physical sensations of an adrenaline rush can have significant impact on their lives. Clearly, getting on a roller coaster isn't a life or death predicament for Beth, but the theory is the same.
So can you all hear me? This is going to be good. I want to hear some screams up there.
It's the same old feeling, but I'm going to look at it in a new way. I feel like I'm going to the moon.
So, has Beth managed to change her attitude to roller coasters from phobia to fun?
I'm not an enthusiast just yet. I'll have to keep working on it a little, but it doesn't terrify me. It doesn't terrify me. It doesn't terrify me at all.
People get so desperate, they will try anything, and the trouble is they don't know how to separate out the things that are useful from the things that aren't. So people will often tend to choose things that offer help without confrontation.
And what you're having to drink.
Avoidance hasn't helped Jackie, and she's finally decided to face her phobia head on. She's going to see a clinical psychologist to try behaviour therapy, the only option left if she wants to show her daughter the outside world.
So today is almost like the end of the road for me. This is the last thing that I can try.
So, birds, feathers...
Birds, feathers.
Any type of...
Any type of bird, any type...
Professor Paul Salkovskis specialises in behavioural therapy. He believes he can change the way Jackie thinks about birds and feathers in just one session.
So what you're saying to me is you would very much like to get rid of this problem?
Yes.
OK, even if it involved coming in contact with feathers?
This is the bit that scares me.
Sure it does. It's a scary bit. But you're already suffering so much anxiety from this that actually, I suspect that you've lived the worst anxiety you could experience time and time and time again, so it wouldn't be any different to what's already happened. Just this time it would be for a purpose. So I'm saying that's the choice. Am I prepared to confront this? Or would I rather just carry on like I am?
Yeah, I want somebody to wave a magic wand and it all to go away, and it's not going to happen.
I have a magic wand, it's got feathery bits on it. I'm wondering what you think is the worst thing that would happen.
I feel like I'm going to die. I'm going to die.
See, feathers not the fear, is it? Dying's the fear. You're not afraid of feathers, you're afraid of dying. The worst possible fear is not feathers. The worst possible fear is losing it, dying, not seeing your daughter grow up, all the things that go with that, OK? Now, I'm telling you that that's not what's going to happen, that you're not going to die. But, I'm saying that also I don't expect you to believe me on that. I don't expect you to believe me on that. But what you have to do is you have to find out. So, I kind of need to know whether you want to go the next step.
The next step being show me a feather.
Next step's a feather.
I can't.
It's only a very small feather.
Paul is very persistent, Jackie has agreed to look at her feather.
So I'd be very interested to know what's going through your mind as we do this. Okay. Okay, it's coming out now?
Yeah, right.
Okay, there it is. Okay, I'm just going to put it down there. Okay, just tell me what's going through your mind just now, Jackie.
I need to get away from it.
Jackie, out of 100, what would...
I'm terrified.
Right. Out of 100, where is it?
100.
Okay, stay with it then. Okay, now what's going to happen? I'll tell you what's going to happen. What's going to happen is that anxiety will come down. Remember that your thought is that it goes up and it just keeps on going up and up. Okay, and I said you need to discover that that's not actually what happens. What happens is it comes back down again. Now, it's actually coming down a lot more quickly than you expected, isn't it?
Yeah.
In fact, you can't believe it, can you?
Yeah.
That's good. This is something you told me you were certain would kill you. Now, in fact, I think you're discovering that you're wrong.
Yeah.
That death is not, that this actually can't kill you. And you smiled.
Right.
For a woman who's going to lose it, a woman who's going to go completely bonkers and is going to die, yeah, you gave me a very nice smile.
I think this is as good as it's gonna get.
Okay, ready?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to move everything nice, slowly and controlledly. Okay. There we go. Moving across, and there it is. Okay, out of 100. So my holding it was worth?
Yes, because you can put it near me.
Promise you I'm not going to do that.
Oh, yeah. Keep going. Keep going. No,
Good.
stop now.
Okay.
Stop.
I've stopped.
Stop.
Okay. Brill. People often say, I've had it for so long, how can I possibly ever get rid of it? In 100 years, let alone, a couple of hours. And the answer is you can. You're getting quite bored of this feather, aren't you? What I'll do is I'll just peel it off and take this off and put it back in its little envelope. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Then we've got a very romantic feather. Okay, it's coming your way, is that all right?
Right.
Okay. Romantic feather, which I'm going to tape down. I know what's happening here. What's happening here is you're thinking, I'm not worried about this, so the bastard's going to make me touch it. I'm not.
No, I know, you're not going to make me do anything I don't want to.
Yeah. So what do you want to do here? Excellent. Okay. Again, being in control of it is the name of the game.
Oh my God.
Stick with it.
I know. Because it'll come down.
Yeah. I know you're there when you're actually taking control in this kind of way as well, you know? But you picked that up. I didn't ask you to pick it up.
I know.
You picked it up.
I knew I was never going to get home today unless I picked this up. I never, ever imagined in my wildest dreams that I would ever in my life sit here holding a feather. Ever.
But it did take nearly 45 minutes.
Wow. 45 minutes after 37 years of it.
Like Jackie, Christine also finally took the plunge and had behaviour therapy.
Pages and pages of the word nice. How many times in total did you write this?
I think it was 24,720.
Which was the worst one?
That was the worst.
After writing the word, then looking at pictures, Christine finally faced the real thing. Today, she is cured.
I can't relate to how I felt before. I think back to the things I said, and I know that when I said them, I meant them 100%, and I felt so strong about them. And now, I can't feel like that.
And since her success, she's had her brain rescanned. When she sees a mouse now, there's no change in the hippocampus and no sign of fear in her brain. The phobia is gone.
I feel, now I'm over it, it's the best way to show everybody that I've conquered my fear. I feel that by putting it there, I've contaminated myself now for the rest of my life, so there's no way I can go back to being the way I was. No way.
See, that to me is too crowded. I can't deal with it like that. See, here comes the other ferry.
Carmine still hasn't been on the Staten Island ferry.
The world is so crowded today, too. That's another thing. I don't know, maybe it's real. That's my thinking. I don't know, Joe, is that phobic? Is it not phobic? What is
phobic.
I don't know.
It's typically phobic, actually.
You know, I mean, but I have no desire.
That's phobic. It's phobic.
Joanne has persuaded Carmine to try the ferry again. They've booked another session. Virtual reality has helped, but Kathleen hasn't yet given her speech in church. Jacqueline Kelly has finally made her daughter's dream come true. For the first time, they've been able to feed the ducks together.